Both emotional intelligence and intellectual intelligence form important parameters to assess people. Their ability to put both these parameters to an effective use is known as emotional quotient (EQ) and intelligence quotient (IQ), respectively. For better understanding, given here is a comparison of emotional quotient versus intelligence quotient. Right or left? The right side of the brain controls processes related to emotions, like in the field of arts or creativity, whereas the left side of the brain is more active in analytic thought processes, like solving a math problem or logical thinking. We live in a fast-paced world which has cutthroat competition for survival, and success is the only thing that matters. The means to achieve this success are not of much relevance. This has prompted many to look for options that go way beyond the regular means to stay ahead of the pack. The factors that winners are made of have been dissected down and analyzed. The standout features among these factors are high intelligence as well as emotional quotient. Intelligence quotient is the ability of a person to do work, while emotional quotient is the ability and the rationality to factor in various things that can affect the ability to do work, the impact of which can be positive or negative. Intelligence quotient (IQ). This is the intellectual ability of a person. The origins of the use of this terminology can be traced back to the early 19th century. It is a measure of the ability of a person to understand various skills, and learn to apply them. It stands as a scale for measuring reasoning, analytical, numerical, and other such skills. People with a higher IQ generally have a better academic performance. They have to take less mental efforts when performing an intellectual task as compared to those with a lower IQ. Factors affecting IQ. There have been various theories that have tried to determine the factors that can have an effect on the IQ of a person. It is still debatable whether it can be nurtured, or is it in the nature, that is, whether it is dependent on the genes, or if some of the factors in the environment can have an effect on it. Learning new activities like chess or Sudoku, or playing strategy games that can prove to be a challenge to the functioning of the brain can be helpful in improving IQ. Measuring IQ. There are tests that can measure the IQ of a person. These tests are made up of standardized questions. IQ is then determined on the basis of the performance in these tests, and how this performance stands against other people who have taken the same tests. This, however, was not the original process that was used to measure IQ. In the tests that were carried out earlier, the mental age of the person was divided by the actual age, and the resultant was multiplied by 100, to get the intelligence quotient. For example, if the mental age of a boy was 13, whereas his actual chronological age was 10, his IQ, according to the methodology mentioned above, was 130. Traits of people with higher IQ. The ones with a higher IQ are good at word comprehension, abstract thinking, spatial thinking, and can easily filter out the information which they perceive as irrelevant. They are largely successful in the fields that have to offer them challenging tasks, where they can also put their analytical skills to good use. These individuals can have a prosperous career in research and development, and are recognized as highly capable and gifted individuals. Emotional quotient (EQ). The emotional quotient, more or less consists of the factors that can affect, or rather interfere with the intellectual ability of a person. This term was used for the first time towards the end of the 19th century. It is the ability of a person to identify, control, and evaluate his or her emotions, as well as of the people around. People with a higher EQ are better suited as team players as well as in leadership roles over those who have a lower EQ. Factors affecting EQ. The EQ of a person can be honed from an early age through various emotional learning programs. These efforts can help people better adjust in society. It is not only responsible for improved interpersonal skills, but also for better performance in academic as well as professional careers. EQ can be improved by adopting various methodologies. For example, role-playing games, which can help in understanding different points of view. Measuring EQ, one's ability to process emotions, their own, as well as that of others, is a very subjective process. However, as in case of IQ measurement, there are some standard tests available for measuring EQ. The Myers-Solovey-Caruso Emotional Intelligence Test is one such test that measures EQ through the answers given to the various questions that are based on emotional problems. Other tests that can attain the same objective are Emotional Competence Inventory or Emotional Intelligence Appraisal. Traits of people with higher EQ. People with a higher EQ are able to factor in emotions in their thought process, and are also able to grasp emotional meanings. They have leadership abilities, are able to work in a team, and be collaborative with regards to their work. Though these people, in general, are team players, there are some individuals who can work at their best when they work alone too. Most of them have the ability to assess the emotions of the people who are around them, along with their own. Relation between emotional quotient and intelligence quotient. To survive in the real world, EQ plays a very important role. It is known to increase self-confidence, empathy, and impulse control, among other things. Success widely depends on how high the EQ of a person is. It is largely believed that success depends 80% on EQ, while the rest is a result of the IQ. The main difference between emotional quotient and intelligence quotient is that EQ is, by and large, sufficient by itself for survival in the world. However, the same does not hold true about IQ, which is one of the many factors that is needed for achieving success. IQ can help open and get through various doors, whereas EQ will help in establishing and sustaining once and through these open doors. It can be said that the intellectual intelligence of a person can be of help throughout his or her academic career, while his or her emotional intelligence will come in handy in both education as well as profession.